Hello, everybody. Welcome to the GenXplainers podcast, The Perfect Song. And we have a special episode once again. Our panel is made up of folks who went to the same high school around the same time. It's the high school reunion episode. And today, well, let's everyone say hi. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. And today's song is brought to us by our old friend Sean. So let me let him introduce it. Go for it, Sean.
Wow. Well, when you said perfect song, I think you and I probably had an hour conversation after that. I'm like, what do you mean perfect song? Because first of all, as somebody who's, been just into music my whole life, I was like, I don't know that there is such a thing. And I got really existential about it for a while. Like, what? Yeah, I was like, no, you're going to make me hate all my other children. Like, no, but, so this, I really went back and forth on a lot of different songs. And I thought like, well, there's a lot of songs that I think are perfect songs that everybody would know. And we've actually talked about some of the other ones. And then there's songs that I think are perfect songs that I'm not sure anybody would know. And that brought me to Game Theory, which is like, I think the greatest band that nobody ever knew back in at the time they were there. Sadly, the lead singer, Scott Miller, died in 2013. And a lot of people then came out later, people like Amy Mann and AC Nelson from New Pornographers, and said like, this guy, Scott Miller, and that band Game Theory were life-changing for me. And that's kind of the way I feel about this band and this song, particularly this song. I don't know that there is a better opening to an album than the way this song opens. It is like song one, side A, you drop it on, and you are going somewhere. And then the lyrics, quick judger, long-time begrudger, dialed into the pyramid structure, efficacious, B follows acious. What kind of rhyme is that? I mean, literally the first time I heard it, and it was at a time I had been in a band and I had been trying to write songs, and I literally just quit after this. I heard that rhyme and I was like, I can't, that's it. I'm never going to write anything that smart. And that, and you just go through the lyrics and realize like this guy is a master lyricist.
Yeah, there are things that inspire my lyrics. I mean, I read a lot of this character, James Joyce, who's this, Irish writer from the first half of the 20th century. And I haven't been afraid to write lyrics that I think are going to be real hard to understand the first time you listen to, and maybe not completely comprehensible even after the 10th listening or something, but still I think that's how lyrics should be.
He thinks about rhymes and he puts words together and juxtaposes them in a way that immediately takes you to a place. And like when you hear the way this song fades in and then it hits with the drums and then that comes in, you're like, we jumped through a portal. I don't know where we're going, but I want to go with these people and see where we're going to land. Like, and by the way, best song ever to play at midnight on a radio station, like best song ever. It's both about time travel and really about like, I think about the notion that, time always wins, right? Like no matter what you want to say, no matter what you want to do, time wins, time always wins. And, but what a smart way to say it. This guy, by the way, Scott Miller, the songwriter for Game Theory and the one person who was consistent in the band from beginning to end, was also a mathematician. Like he was also a computer coder. So, I mean, he brings sort of a very left-right brain perspective together in his songwriting in ways that I don't think I've ever seen anybody else do. And and even the name of the band, Game Theory, his explanation for the name of the band was, game theory is the notion of what you would do in a place where there was an adversary, in any kind of situation that's adversarial. And also it's the most wrongly applied theory. It's not the way we should ever consider living. And every one of his songs is this notion of like, here's this construct, it's probably wrong. And this song is just a perfect example of that. And again, it's one of those songs, every time I comes up in my mix, I stop what I'm doing and I take myself right there. And again, it was one of the 4 albums I brought to college with me. It was this, Ocean Rain from Echo and the Bunnymen, Big Plans for Everybody by Mitch Easter's Let's Active. By the way, Mitch Easter produced this album and recorded it at Drive-In Studios, same place he recorded those great REM albums. And probably also the most lost, unknown producer of that era. Everybody knows Don Dixon, Todd Rundgren we talked about in another episode. You never hear about Mitch Easter, but he produced some of the greatest albums of that era. Things like REM's Murmur, for example. So for all those reasons, I thought this was a wonderful song to bring, and probably one that you were going to have to come on this journey with me, because you probably weren't listening to it the same way I was at that time.
Yeah, totally. I know that's how it was for me. I mean, I knew the name, and I know I probably had heard Game Theory because I worked in close proximity to you for years, and I'm sure you must have played it in the office. Before I get more into it, can you tell us just a brief little history of the band Game Theory?
Yeah, so Game Theory is actually a Sacramento band, and as you know, that's where I live now. So he went to high school literally at the local high school here, Rio Americano, and so he's a Sacramento guy. Grew up playing music, loving the Beatles. He was Scott Miller was a huge fan, and you can hear it in the music if you listen to this album of Big Star, Alex Chilton's Big Star. Another band that sort of everybody should know and most people missed somehow. And it's why I think, he continues that tradition of power pop that I think really Alex Chilton arguably invented. And he put the first iteration of the band together at UC Davis and then moved it to the Bay Area. And their rehearsal space was Big Shot Studios in Berkeley, which is a photography studio. Where Robert Torrin, who did most of the band's photography, and you can see right behind me here, was sort of the resident photographer. They practiced in the back of the photography studio, Big Shot Studios, which is why this album is called Big Shot Chronicles. There are a lot of different lineups to the band over the years, probably, I would assume, having to do with, what often happens in a band when you have such a strong sort of presence of a front man or front person in the band, that there's a rotating lineup behind them, because it's hard for people to, be in that shadow. But the musicians in this band, I mean, if you listen to Gil Ray's drumming on this album, those fills are worthy of some of the greatest drummers of all time, in my opinion, and totally unsung. And you never heard of the guy other than that. But the keyboards, the backing vocals, like every last bit of this, the musicianship on these albums is great. And even when he had a revolving cast of characters that came through, the consistency of the songs that they produce as a band is astounding.
So yeah, I'll go ahead and start with my history with it. And the history is, I heard this song about a week and a half ago. And yeah, like I said, I've heard of the name Game Theory, heard of the band. And I'm sure I had heard them, but it didn't register. I didn't really pay any attention. It was just sort of there. Yeah, and I think probably that might be true with a lot of people, but I'm going to go ahead and give my quick analysis as well, just all at once, and then we'll go around the horn. Initially putting it on, is the thing about this song. When I first put it on, I was like, okay, yeah, okay. And I was sort of like, I liked it, but I wasn't like going crazy about it. And then I liked like the sort of driving power pop feel to it. His voice reminds me of someone, and I can't think of who. Maybe we'll come up with it. But then I listened to it again, and I went, oh, and it sort of hooked me more. And I listened to it a bunch of times. By the fifth or sixth listen, I'm like, oh, I get this. It sort of clicked with me. And the things I love the alternating vocal lines and the quick, and the lyrics themselves were so inventive and smart and funny, and also, and just I really enjoyed the lyrics, and yeah, very clever, and the whole thing's like, I called it relentlessly delivered. And so the more I listened to it, the more I enjoyed it. And I'll I'll pass it off now to someone else. How about Mike? He's raising his hand.
I'll go ahead since my history of the song is less than yours.
2 days.
Yeah, no, it was 2 days ago is when I first heard it. So I do feel like I haven't had a lot of time with the song. However, it was immediately infectious. Re-listening to, I listened to this song in the last 2 days more than all the other songs on the list of the shows we recorded today. Because of the fact that I liked it so much. And it's, I forget, is it 2.5 minutes, 2 minutes?
Yeah,
2.5 minutes?
It's tight.
Yeah,
It's short.
And it's like, you can listen to it 5 times before you finish the Echo of the Bunnymen song. Oh no, I'm just kidding. But no, there's something about this song that immediately caught me. And when I first saw the list, I'm like, oh, I don't know that song. And I'm like, oh, great. I'm gonna have to Sean's gonna have to convince me of something here. And I'm gonna have to listen to this, him berate me for something here. But the thing is, it's like, you know what? Sean's absolutely right. It's like a fantastic song. And it is something that makes me want to go back and hear more of their stuff. And it was a great way to be introduced to them because I really am not familiar with the band. So anyway, That's my history. 2 days.
That's the history. Al, how about you?
My history is not as short as Mike's, a little shorter than yours. Although actually, when I put this song on at first, I thought actually that I had heard it before, but the more it went on, I was like, no, I'm thinking of a different song. And I realized that the two songs don't sound the same at all, but there's this kind of like relentless start that is at the beginning of a Robin Hitchcock song, the Yip song. That made me think of that at first, even though they don't sound the same at all. And listening to it, I kept also thinking like, this sounds like something. And again, they don't sound the same, but it makes me think of the 3 o'clock. There's maybe it's just the pitch of the vocals or something like that. But
well, Michael Carrico from the 3 o'clock produced the first couple of EPs for these guys, so there is something there. You caught on.
Very astute.
Right. So yeah, I didn't really have any history, and of course, when I think this happened one other time before for this podcast, when there's no history, it's always this weird, like, how much does your history with a song affect how you're going to interpret it, whether it's perfect or otherwise? And then you have this sort of scientific experiment now, like, I have no history, I'm just going to listen to it. Is it perfect or is it not? And similar to Mike, I wound up listening to it more because it really grabs you. It's like immediately right off the bat, like whether you like it or not, you're forced to pick a side. And I chose to listen more. And then similar to Matt's journey, I started paying attention to the lyrics, like by reading them and going, wow, I now like it even more. Like, this is really incredible stuff, but it flows so naturally from him. And yet, if you were to just read it without the music or anything, you're like, this is almost like gobbledygook, but it doesn't sound like that when he sings it because it just flows. And I do feel that there are certain people, I see this a lot in hip hop. There are people who can just take complex rhymes and ideas that mix together and flow together in a way, and it's so natural from them, and it's awe-inspiring to me. So that's my initial reaction to the song.
How about you, Matt?
Yeah, I remember Game Theory. I've certainly played Game Theory on the radio. I probably had not thought a lot about Game Theory in close to 30 years. and didn't initially remember the song when I saw the title. I could have maybe pulled out Erica's World if I'd thought about it, and then deep diving this week into their catalog, found a couple other songs. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that song. But I still wasn't sure that I remembered this song even after listening to it. However, like Mike and Alan, and I think Matt as well, found myself going back to this a lot over the last couple of weeks and listening to this song kind of over and over. And I get what Sean is saying. I knew I was going to need to hear what Sean had to say about it, but I totally get what he's saying. If I had connected more to this song in 1980, was it 85 or 86 when this album came?
86,
I think. Yeah. Had I connected to this more then, I would have, absolutely. It would be like a song I still talk about to this day. So I'm grateful that I've had the chance to discover the song, because it really was kind of special. It reminded me, you mentioned that Mitch Easter produced it. When I saw that, I immediately went, oh, I'm hearing so much Let's Active in this album as I'm going through it. And they had that sort of power pop energy. It reminded me a little bit of Material Issue that would come around a few years later, just the sound of the songs and the style, the way he's crafting the arrangements. And yeah, you're right. Lyrically, this guy you just started looking at the lyrics going, who is this kid? Like, how 25 years old or something like that when he's knocking this thing out. Fantastic. Davis's own Game Theory. So and that was actually the one thing I remembered when I saw Game Theory. I'm like, oh, that's the Davis band, Game Theory, that moved to San Francisco and were kind of local legends. But I could not have told you with certainty that I knew this song prior to listening to it in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I used to run into Scott Miller in my neighborhood bar, by the way, in that era. Like when I moved to San Francisco in 91, he would just be sitting there reading like James Joyce or something. I don't know. And,
Yeah.
And I don't know what he was reading, but he was always reading a book in the bar. And I was like, and I never knew what to say to the dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to interrupt his reading, but by the way, bartending at that bar was Jonathan Siegel from Camper Van Beethoven. So weird time in San Francisco.
Wow.
And I don't know if that's what brought Scott there or if we all just lived in the same neighborhood, but yeah, weird neighborhood bar called the Rat and Raven on 24th Street in San Francisco.
remember.
Shout out Rat and Raven.
I remember that. All right. Well, usually what we would do is we'd say, oh, does it hold up from the first time you heard it? And
Yes, very much so.
I'll say that I'll say it again. Every time I listen to it, it moves up because I'm just sort of, it's latching on to me. We hope you're enjoying this GenXplainers podcast. Please remember to find us and follow us on social media. And we'd much appreciate a 5-star rating on the podcast platform of your choice. Now, let's get back to the show. Let's go ahead and put it up for vote. Let's just go to it. So, Sean, I'm going to let you go first. You brought it.
Well, of course, I think it's a perfect song because I brought it. But yeah, for me, when we talked about it, I had to spend a long time after our first conversation thinking about what a perfect song was, right? Yeah. And that's what
existential crisis, as I recall.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, to me, it's like it takes you into a universe, right? It immediately puts you there. And you're there. And for the duration of that song, that's where you are. And you want to be there, right? It's like, and this song is one of those songs for me. And so, yeah, 100% perfect rating for me.
All right. Let's go to Matt, the other Matt.
Yeah. I think part of the formulating of what this show is, it's a combination, as Alan said. There's the technical side of it is the song perfect, and then there absolutely has to be an emotional side, and so many other sort of factors that surround when did it come out, what does it mean. There's so much going on to that, and that's where I go with a song like this. had I connected to it at the time, I might be leaning more towards Perfect. But as much as I enjoyed my experience with this song the last couple of weeks, I just could never get to the point where I could say, oh yeah, this is a perfect song. So I gotta say no, even though I totally get why it's perfect for Sean, and I love that for him.
All right. How about Al? What you say?
I will say that I love the lyrics now that I'm a little more familiar with them. I love the way it grabs you. I remember seeing a concert, I think it was Shannon Wright with a friend of mine, and I remember him saying, when something's authentic, you can just smell it immediately. And there is something to that here. Like, it's like, this really grabs you as something like meaty, not just, emotion, not just drive. And I love when songs do what they have to do and then move on. I love it. It's man, punk. So I'm gonna say yes. I do think it's a perfect song.
Okay. How about you, Mike?
I am also going to say yes. And even though I've only had a very short time with this song, it's something that affected me immediately. I can hear this since it came out in '86. I could hear all these different bands and musical artists that it's influenced too, which is amazing. Like Sean mentioned New Pornographers earlier, and I'm like, I could really hear that in what they heard.
Yeah. That might be the vocal. That might be the vocal that I was thinking about. Actually, now that you
I
said,
think it is,
because I'm hearing New Pornographers going, oh, yeah.
Yeah. It reminded me of New Pornographers a lot. One of my favorites. So, and I even hear like other groups that came along later, like Ted Leo, stuff like that. There's a lot of different stuff that I heard along in this that they had to have been influenced by this particular sound from Game Theory. So it is something that I found really interesting. And I have to vote yes, because I really want to listen more and more and more to it. And that is a sure sign for me of like something that's special. So,
all right. Yeah, for me, I mean, when coming into it before this discussion of it, I was actually at a no, but I think in 2 listens it will be. In other words, I was at a certain point with the song, my relationship with the song, where I think I need to give it a couple more listens, and then I'm really going to be on board with this. But that's just not where I was starting the podcast, starting this episode. And I guess I should stick with that, but I have to say, with the conversation around it and what we've brought up, it's really kind of there. But I'll stick with what I came in with. But I'll listen to it a couple more times today, and then it's gonna be perfect.
Well, I think that's exactly it, Matt. I think it's, for me, it was just simply a matter of, God, I love this song, but I've only just really discovered it.
Right.
When we do the high school reunion episode, I might have a different opinion on it then.
Sure.
I'm just not there yet.
Yeah. And I think that element of like deciding whether quote something is quote perfect, the element of getting to know the song and having it be really with you, I think that's a valid thing. I think it's a valid sort of necessity, possibly, to be able to say this is perfect, And again, this whole show is on the philosophical meaning of perfect. Don't worry so much about it. it's a jump.
I brought this song to challenge that notion, right? Because I had a feeling you probably all wouldn't know it. And I really wanted to bring a song that I think is a perfect song that you wouldn't have that relationship with, and you would just have to reckon with as it is. And so glad to bring some of you along. And I feel like we're all going to be in the same place by the end of today. So I feel like I'm winning.
Yeah, I think so. And
I do think that you should judge the our opinions of the perfect song if you listen to Echo and the Bunnymen episode and judge Matt. So.
Yes, please judge me. And I think it's a great sort of if you sort of take a step back from it. Like, I want people to listen to this podcast, and I want them to reassess old songs that they know, but I love them to discover songs and to discovery of new stuff that you like is like great. It's a wonderful thing.
Oh yeah.
So hopefully, that does that too. Well, so there you have it. And I hope if you are listening now, and I hope you do check out Game Theory and this song as well, and leave a comment. Have you heard of Game Theory? You have any idea what we're talking about?
Oh,
I-
I did a deep dive. The catalog's fantastic. This is a really solid
So,
band
folks,
that
dive
not enough
in.
people know about.
And let us know what you think in the comments. And like and subscribe, and I'm going to put that in there. And I want to thank the panel again. Thank you, Sean, and for bringing it. And thank you all. And let's say bye-bye.